Another vintage performance again. So Barcelona put away Sevilla in an amazing fashion. 3-0 that game ended, but Rafinha getting his first goal. But then it now becomes a matter of how many goals Robert Lewandowski is going to score.
Yeah, and I remember, people were a bit skeptical about him moving to Spain and whether he would hit the ground running. But I think he's put that question to bed with 5 goals in 4 games. I think that's very commendable. I mean, for players like Lewandowski, Karim Benzema, they are good when given that atmosphere. When they find themselves in their zone, you can't stop them from scoring. So for now, I'm excited with what Xavi is doing with this team. He's not figured out his first 11. He's not had, a structured lineup in all the 4 games that he's played. He's been chopping and changing and all of that, but I'm sure with time he'll get his perfect level.
At least he knows the nucleus of this particular
of this team. You can talk about Pedri, you can talk about Gavi, who was excellent. Sergio Busquets, excellent. Jules Koundé, this was his second game, playing for Barcelona, but he played, ironically, he played as a right back. But it was a good game. But let's not also forget that Sevilla are having they are on a bad run of 4.
I agree.
Just 1 point in 4 games. Very, very disappointing. I don't know what you think of, Lopetegui and whether he will be sacked.
I've always had my doubts about Lopetegui. I mean, he's a very good manager, but unfortunately, I think it has to do with how he's able to sustain momentum over a period of time. Of course, his team is going to pick up in the course of the season, but it has to do with always having to blow hot and cold. If you critically assess the managerial acumen of Lopetegui, that's how it's always been. He will take you there and then finds a very nice way to bring you down. And that's exactly what we're having to witness in the formative moments of the season. But I can trust Sevilla to pick up the pieces and then get back. But then for Jules Koundé, his first game provided 2 assists. I'm beginning to imagine where exactly he will fit into this particular team as a centre back or probably as a lateral.
I think he will create a partnership between Jules Koundé and Araujo. That will be the partnership that a lot of people are expecting to see. He played at right back because of the absence of Sergio Roberto. Don't forget they've sold Sergio. He's on loan to Sergio Dest is on loan at Real Madrid, AC Milan. So like I said, he's trying to find the perfect fit for the players he's had. Araujo has played at right back before, so it's not news. And I'm loving Balde, the young left back. He's been in all the games that he's played so far. He's literally cementing the place and he's keeping Jordi Alba out of the team. But I think the whole look of this Barcelona team, he's building on where they were last season. So I'm not too raving about this team because they are not a perfect team yet. But I think he needs the win at the back to ensure that confidence will be there when they come up against the big sides, like we are all talking about.
I think they got what it takes to, as it were, wrestle the title from Barcelona. Because to think that Real Madrid, to think that last season when you took over the team midway through the season, Barca were languishing.
Someone in ninth.
But to have won 14 games on the bounce to eventually finish up
second,
I think it was amazing. This season, he's had the luxury of taking the team through
and they bought a lot.
Exactly, they've invested a lot, and so I think it's not going to be a crucial for Real. They had to literally walk away with the title. This season, we're going to have Barca and then Real
wrestle it out. On the bit of Real Madrid, you've seen Real Madrid in their last 4 games. You think they've proven enough to tell Barcelona, hey, this title is still ours to lose?
They've preserved their 100% start to the season by beating Real Betis 2. But what's worrying is the fact that they haven't been able to keep a clean sheet all through their 4 games. That's a bit worrying. So for Anthony Rudiger, for Ancelotti, I must say, to think that he had to go for Rudiger, in fact, he had to come for free. But obviously it was to solidify the back line. But to think that they are still unable to keep clean sheet leaves much to be desired.
I agree with you. And for me, it speaks of the reason why he went in for Rudiger, because you ask yourself, you have Militao, you have Alaba, you have all these great defenders, experienced defenders. Why will he bring you Rudiger? Even when Rudiger came into the team, he's not had a first team appearance in the last 3 games. He always comes from the bench, and sometimes he plays as a right back. I don't know whether together with himself and Xavi, they are trying to find the perfect fit for some of their players. But like you said, it should be a cause of concern for Madridistas. They've not been able to keep a clean sheet. What happens if you come up against the big boys? What happens if you come up against Atletico, who seem to be settling in very well? Barcelona, who seem to have found their scoring boot all together. Will Real Madrid struggle? Because now, then we are going to talk about how many goals Real Madrid will outscore their opponent. Because if you are conceding, you need to outscore your opponent. True. I think that it's a cause of concern.
Who's got depth, quality depth? Because Madrid can count on Rodrigo, Valverde, and the likes. To think that Toni Kroos had to even start from the bench. Let's try and then compare the two teams.
We know that structured rebuilding, that's one thing I give to Real Madrid. They have a structured way of rebuilding. They gradually phase out their players. Look at what they did with Ramos. Look at what they did with the famous midfield trio of Toni Kroos, Casemiro and Luka Modric. They are gradually restructuring the midfield with Camavinga and
Tchouaméni isn't getting anybody to miss Casemiro.
Exactly. So they seamlessly, Real Madrid have rebuilt the midfield without anybody actually knowing. But I think Barcelona have enough depth, because even with the Barca midfield, they have Frank Kessie on the bench. They have Frankie de Jong on the bench, who yesterday was brilliant when he came on for Pedri. So I think Barcelona have enough depth. And in the attack, Barcelona have luxury of players. They have Ferran Torres, Ansu Fati. They could decide to play Dembele. They could decide to play Rafinha. They could decide to. So
as to how all of that depth would come in handy, it remains to be seen. Let's take a trip to Italy, where the Derby della Madonnina.
Derby della Madonnina. It's actually a mouthful. We are not Italians.
Derby della Madonnina. Anyway, AC Milan had to claw back from the goal down to win 3-2. It was a 5-goal thriller, but amazing prodigy that boy is turning out to be, Rafael Leao. I tweeted that this guy, any team that wants him next season should be willing to cough out not less than £150 million, because he's practically one of the brightest spots in Europe in terms of attackers right now. And what Pioli has done with this team is incredible. They've not bought big. They brought in Messias, that Brazilian, right winger, brilliant. They have, Sandro Tonelli together with Benacer. Yesterday they were unplayable. They neutralized everything that Simeone threw at them. Though they went a goal that you could clearly see it was bound to happen. I love the shape of the team, and that French goalkeeper, his name is a mouthful, Magnan or something. Hugo Lloris should be careful. I don't know what you think of Inter. Are Inter showing signs of frailty, because they are languishing, somewhere around? A quick fact before you come in. Last season they played the entire season. They considered just 3 goals or less just twice. But in just 4 games, they've considered against
3
last
goals.
year and then against AC Milan.
Just 4 games.
I think my interest has to be how Stefano Pioli has proven that whatever they had to do last season was not a fluke.
Not a fluke. It's true.
That's an amazing game we witnessed, yesterday. But long may that continue for AC Milan, because I am a Rossoneri.
I'm loving what I'm seeing with AC Milan. I keep saying that they've not bought big. They've built a unit from what they did last season. They are building on what they did last season. This season, they've solidified it. And whoever comes in, yesterday Mariano Diaz came on from the bench and he was excellent. Brahimi Diaz, he came on from the bench. He was excellent. I do not know the mentality with which AC Milan are running with, but whatever Pioli is doing, I think is good for AC Milan, because when it comes to Champions League, Europe's Italian football, it's AC Milan. And going forward, I hope that they can replicate that in the Champions League. But it was a good sellout for the Serie A.
But for the Panthers, they got very disappointed, because 2 consecutive draws meant that Bayern Munich relinquished top spot.
And nobody was expecting that to happen against Union Berlin. I mean, Bayern have been on fire in their last 3 games, scoring 3-4 goals for fun against Union Berlin. People expected that, Bayern would just run wild. I'm interested in how Julian Nagelsmann sets his team up. The departure of Robert Lewandowski means that he needs to tweak. Now he's actually playing a 4-2-2-2 formation, where the likes of Sadio Mane and Thomas Muller are literally the strike partners up front. And so he's trying out new things, and because people seemingly say that there's not so much competition
in
in the Bundesliga, they seemingly are riding on that wave. When they come up against teams that are able to figure them out, they will struggle. That's why I'm expecting them not to have a rosy run in the Champions League. But for the Bundesliga, they will find their way out because they have enough quality to punish any team. But it was a bit disappointing for me because against Union Berlin, I expect that.
Particularly for the Panthers. So that's a very beautiful ambience here at Focus Studio.
Lovely.
Very lovely.
At Focus at Anaji, Takra, the Western Region, Ghana.
My name is Kofi Mensah.
And more importantly, hey, subscribe to Sport 101 channel on YouTube. Comment, and then we are doing.
Leave a comment, of course.
Yeah, it's very
however
important.
you make of whatever you make of everything. We've had to say, please do well to share your comments in the comment section, and we are more than willing to run with it.